Welcome back to the show. You're watching NHL Now. Let's head back out to the general manager meetings where E.J. Raddick caught up with NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman.
Commissioner, let me ask you, why are these meetings so important for the league and for all the managers?
I think it's always been clear in our game that the managers are really the group responsible for making sure the game is healthy and vibrant, how it's being played. And this gives everybody an opportunity, particularly after the trade deadline, to really take a deep breath and focus on the game and talk about what may be issues and what maybe we should be doing to move the game forward. The good news is everybody thinks the game's in a great place, and things that we were talking about I would categorize either as personal preferences or tweaks, but nothing that is fundamental or radical because, as I said, everybody thinks we're in a good place.
How have the meetings changed over the years? I mean, since the first couple of years you did it to where we are now?
I think the meetings have always been collaborative. I think it's a great opportunity for the managers group to get together. Recently, under the more senior managers, an executive committee was formed to really help make sure the agenda is addressing things that the manager wanted to talk about, and also for the more senior managers to act as a mentor, if you will, to some of the newer, younger managers that have been coming into the game over the last few years.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week because we have one manager in David Poyle, who has been here for many, many years, and then you have Danny Briere, who's 5 or 6 days into his interim tenure.
Well, and David has had a great 42-year career, incredible, the tenure he's had, and as importantly, he's always been a voice of reason and passion about the game, and I think an inspiration for all the other managers, particularly the newer young ones like Danny.
All right, let me ask about the salary cap. You talked about that a little bit today, that it will go up about $1 million. Just for the fans out there, maybe you can give kind of your thoughts on where it's going and when it might go up even more down the road.
Well, we've been very fortunate in terms of how we've come back from COVID. There was a large, well over $1 billion escrow that had to be repaid, and our revenues will be at a record high. We had very aggressive projections as to what hockey-related revenues would be, and we're exceeding those. And the escrow, if it's not paid off this year, there's a chance it will be. Probably not, but there's a chance it will be. It'll be paid off next year, which is ahead of schedule and ahead of our projections. And it's an indication of how healthy the game is on and off the ice.
Let me ask you about some of the conversations this week, in particular the potential expansion down the road of video review. How would you characterize those conversations?
Well, I think twofold. One, video review in its current form is working very well. We were the first league to really centralize it, and all the other video reviews are modeled on what we've done. With respect to the things that we're talking about, puck over the glass, 2-minute high sticking, it's not as easy as you think saying, well, let's just review it. And we've got to think through the implications as to whether or not it makes sense. In both instances, the number of times that you would actually use it isn't very many, and the number of mistakes that you have in a typical season are probably in the handful range. So we've got to decide whether or not, by moving forward and doing video review, that we're understanding all of the implications of what that would mean, and whether or not it would make it more complex as opposed to less complex.
All right, let me ask you about a couple of franchises quickly. The Ottawa Senators, looks like they're going to be sold. Any update there?
The sale process, the bidding process is ongoing, and there's robust interest, which we're glad to see.
And how about the situation in Arizona? I guess the vote is coming up in Tempe. Where do you think that is headed?
Everything has been done to move the project forward in Tempe for the Coyotes, except there's a referendum for the people in Tempe on May 16th, and we're hopeful and optimistic that this wonderful project will be embraced. It's not just good for the Coyotes. We think it would be good for the greater community.
All right. Like the hockey fans, I'm sure you're pumped up for the playoffs, right?
Absolutely. We're having an incredible season. The races are great, which is a testament to our competitive balance. And, you know, our playoffs are great, and there's nothing like our first round.
All right. Well, listen, thank you, Commissioner, for the time. We appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the day.
You too. Thanks for being here.